Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
It brings me great pleasure to be podcasting from inside a theatre. I'm here with my friend Stephen, and we are seeing a play, sort of musical, called Death Drop, which we mentioned in a previous episode that I was going to see it. We have masks on, so if we apologise if we're a bit quiet. But hello, Stephen.
Hello. Hi.
You're never quiet, are you?
Not usually.
How does it feel to be back in the theatre?
It's wonderful. It's really, really good. It's been so long, and it's just great that the industry is opening back up. It's wonderful to be here.
And the procedure to get in was very smooth, wasn't it?
Yeah, really smooth operations.
I bought a programme for £8. So we are seeing a show called Death Drop, and it's a DRAGATha Christie thing, and I don't know much about the drag world, but I do like murder mysteries, which is why I'm here. And it's quite a good setup. It's set in 1991 at a reunion of Diana and Charles, the marriage that will go well, nothing wrong will ever happen.
Yeah. And
it's just kind of fun, isn't it? And there's a couple of big stars in this for the drag fans.
So for the drag fans, there's quite a few notable names. We've got Willum, who plays one of the characters. We've got Latrice Royale. Myra Dubois is also in it. Anaphylactic is also in it.
Okay.
So it's quite a good cast.
Yeah, and we got a drag king as well, which is
a drag king as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So
or two drag kings. I think we do have one emission from the cast today, and we are not seeing. I'm just flipping through the programme. Bear with me. We are not, as I hit Steve. We're not seeing Don Juan. We're seeing Eleanor Burke Apple Derriers playing the quite funny. No, I think that's. I'm going to think. Sorry, Holly Stars. Special credit to her because she plays the three twins. The three triplets. Very funny, but we don't have Don Juan. We have Eleanor Burke Apple Derriers. But it's. We got a great parody of Piers Morgan, a character called Morgan Pierce.
Yes.
And we have a great a rich Tory called Rich White Man, which is quite funny. And it's just good fun. And if you're not a fan of sudden loud noises, I don't suggest you come to this show.
It keeps happening a lot.
This has more like thunder than I've ever heard in any show. But the reason we're talking about it on the podcast is the songs are by Flo and Joan. Now, if you don't know Flo and Joan, they're very good comedy songwriters. Have you seen them?
I actually haven't heard of them.
They do like little YouTube videos. Maybe there's a picture of them. They do very good comedy satire songs. And so far we've had two songs in this play. A good introductory song and a good Act 1 closing Les Mis parody song, because we had someone came out and waved the pride flag, so that means it's Les Mis, or Gay Mis, you could
Gay Mis, yes. I like that.
And I mean, you're laughing very hard at this, which is good.
I think the comedy aspect is just delivered so well.
Yes.
And it's executed really well, so it's really great. It's got some great moments in it.
Latrice Royale is amazing, but she is dead, so I don't know how. Is that it for her character?
Well, I mean, not to give any spoilers, but she sort of made a reappearance at part of the.
I mean, you're not spoiling it for me because I've seen it already. So,
but for our listeners,
yes. And I've seen Myra Dubois in the past.
Yes.
She took my phone off me.
Okay.
And started to talk to Siri. So
wonderful.
But it's so nice to be back in the theatre, Andrew. We look forward to Act 2. And we'll chat about it afterwards, but thank you. Still sitting here with Stephen. You're saying, I mean, you love drag, and tell us who the big deals are again in this show.
Yeah, so the big deals for the show are Willum, Latrice Royale, we've got Anaphylactic, and of course Myra Dubois as well. Those are the ones that scream out to me.
The two Americans, Willum and Latrice Royale, they're both RuPaul Drag Race winners, aren't they?
I don't know if they're winners.
They've all been on the show.
They've all been on the show. Possibly others, I can't remember exactly.
But also, you were saying that it's so nice to see a big acceptance of. I mean, we've had Le Cage aux Folles, which is a big drag show, but that's got one drag element in it, whereas this is an entire...
This entire show has basically been developed on the basis of drag, and it's nice to see that in the West End, especially with massive sets, a lot of effort, lots of money going into it. These sorts of things normally happen independently or in smaller venues, so it's nice to see that becoming a thing.
And I think this was developed by the Trafalgar Studios, so that is a smaller venue, but it's nice that it's in a big
It's nice that it's come to the West End, because normally they go into the smaller venues and that's it. Then it closes.
And this is the second cast, you were telling me?
It is the second cast, yeah. So it opened, I think, just before coronavirus happened.
BC.
And then, yes, it was recast after the first lockdown, I believe. So there was also some other big RuPaul Drag Race stars in the first first cast. So the one I remember vividly was Monet Exchange. So she was a huge RuPaul Drag Race contestant. So that's the only one I can remember. But I'm sure there was others.
Do you think without RuPaul we wouldn't have these massive drag queen stars?
I think, the drag culture has obviously developed so much over time and over the years since it started that, yes, and I think definitely in the day and age we are in now, Drag Race has really made it very mainstream and very commercial, is probably the best word for that. But it's also, everyone just knows about it, whether you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter. Everyone sort of knows what drag is now because of it.
And I saw Little Shop of Horrors a couple of years ago with Vicky Vox in it, playing Audrey 2, which was quite fun.
Yeah.
So it's nice that drag is, as you say, becoming part of the West End culture.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It's wonderful.
Things like Jamie and Kinky Boots and stuff, it's always been there, but this is a special celebration of drag.
Exactly. It's because the whole thing has actually got drag queens in it. Things like Jamie, for example. Yes, it's about
one drag queen.
Well, it's about but it's got a guy who wants to be a drag queen, but all the characters in it are actually drag queens. In other shows, sometimes you don't even see the drag; it's just mentioned. So it's nice to see that it's been developed on the basis of that.
Like Jamie, that was the issue I had with it. Yeah. So you never see his drag act.
You never actually see the drag. So
that was a drag. Anyway, talk later. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are recording now at Charing Cross Station, so you forgive any drunks or silly background noise that Stephen provides. I think all that thunder wasn't in the show. I think we're just outside.
Probably, yes. It's awful weather. Typical British summer, right?
The heavens have opened. Death Drop is over. Your thoughts, Stephen, quickly?
I loved it, especially the second act. I mean, the whole thing is incredibly done. Yes. I think it's got bucket loads of comedy. There's some great sort of
deaths.
There's that, but there's some great hints towards popular culture and TV shows and stuff, which I really appreciated.
Lots of because it's set in 1991, so there's a lot of 1991 British TV shows like London's Burning, if you remember that.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And I think Prime Suspect was referenced as well.
Yeah.
I was right that the Letitia, is that what's the
Latrice Royale?
Latrice comes back.
Yes,
as I thought, doing a very funny impression of Hercule Poirot. And it was dreadful, wasn't it? I mean,
it's dreadful in a really fantastic. It's dreadful on purpose, I think.
Yes. And there's some nice kind of, this person's dead now, so what do we do with the actor? And it kind of did break the fourth wall quite amusingly. Has some nice new songs as well. Had a good Act 2 opening.
Yes.
What's the other big star that was in it? I forget her name. Willum.
And Myra Dubois is also one of the other. They're the top three.
Willum was a kind of 80s washed out pop star, that character. So she had some kind of Madonna-ish songs, which were quite fun. But I don't think it's running for much longer. It might even be closed by the time this episode goes out. But I hope it,
I hope it comes back in some capacity at some point. Because it's a wonderful show.
It's nice. I was thinking we have the Mousetrap, which is the thing. All these. I mean, this. If you know your DRAGATha Christie, this story is more. And then there were none, which is the original slasher. If you think about it, remote island, and one of them is the killer.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie invented the slasher format, so you're welcome, horror fans. And then we have The Mouse Trap, which is the original Agatha Christie. Then we have The Play That Goes Wrong, which is the parody of Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
And now we have, or had, Death Drop, which is the parody of The Play That Goes Wrong, you could say.
I guess it's sort of, the parody and the drag version. I mean, this is the drag version of all of them.
Yes.
In a sense.
DRAGATha Christie at its finest.
Exactly, yeah.
Very, very funny. It was very well staged. Has some very nice theatrical moments. The lighting was excellent. The sound was very loud at some points, a bit too loud when they did the lip-syncing stuff. They sort their levels out, but that's okay. Maybe it's a thing in drag acts that the lip-syncing is, the songs are loud. I don't know.
Well, if it's a lip sync, it doesn't really matter how loud it is. But if there's a lot of the songs that they do are actually them singing. So, as you mentioned, the levels might need to be sorted out a little bit because at points it was difficult to hear the vocals.
Deafeningly loud, you could say.
Well, yes, the sudden thunder sounds were
you got used to them, and they made fun of that as well.
Yes, you get used to it, but my God, right at the it really took me by surprise.
Yeah, and there's a big another bang that took you by surprise when the television exploded.
Oh, I nearly came flying out my seat with that one.
So it has everything you want. It has death, drag, and sudden loud moments. Stephen, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Death Drop, and I hope it comes back soon.
Thank you.
For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. You can email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, listen to past episodes on iTunes and YouTube, and follow our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.